Sandeep, tell me, for Switzerland to reach up to a position or to live in this very polarizing and a very sensitive world without war or without any threat, they, I think, have very consciously developed their systems in a way wherein they know that they have a very strong leverage. And their leverage is their banking system. Their leverage is that all the wealth of the world is in that country and it is secure. You call it the black or the white. You can't just pass that. Nobody can scrutinize that. Nobody can take it. All the countries are fighting to just find out the holders of the bank accounts and the money. So they have a very strong leverage, I feel. So if, let's say, and I think that's the reason why Switzerland is able to come up to a position wherein no country would dare invade or no country would dare destroy, because they invariably would be harming their own assets and resources. I think that is very smart thing that Switzerland has done. Do you think that yes, this is one of the reason also that Switzerland has no reason for a war and it is under no threat? And if a country would want to reach up to that position, they need to have some kind of a leverage in the world wherein people are like, yes, we cannot live without this geography. We cannot live without this country. What they are offering to us is invaluable. So I want to understand that, do you think this is a valid point? Do you think that these leverages also help them to be very neutral when it comes to warfare, invasions, and getting invaded by various other parties?
Raghav, Switzerland has been having this secret banking system for about 100 years. But they have been living without war for the last 500 years.
500 years.
And there was no bank for 500 years.
Yeah,
the institution of bank, leave aside the Swiss bank, was not there. So it is not that Switzerland is living without a war because of the banking system. It's the other way around. It is because Switzerland has freed itself from war. Other countries have put their resources there. And Switzerland has helped them with their secrecy law and developed a banking system. So the Swiss banking system is a result of the absence of war. It is not a cause, because the banks have really come much later. Switzerland signed that agreement with their neighboring countries in 1816. That's more than 200 years ago. Swedes made the country neutral. It was a neutrality act. In fact, now for the first time in the history of 500 years, some people in Switzerland are considering to join NATO, which is a military alliance. Now, after 500 years. So now, in fact, when the Swiss banking system is developed, and their industry is developed, and their nature is bountiful and it's developed as a tourist market. At this time, in fact, there are people in Switzerland who would like to join NATO. And in 2026, next year, there will be a referendum in Switzerland to determine whether to go on a military path or whether to preserve their 500-year-old independence. But leave aside Switzerland, there are some 22 countries in the world which have given up armies, which do not have weapons, which do not have the Ministry of Defense. And we might say some of these are small countries, but some of them are large countries. Switzerland, in fact, has an army. It has standing army, but there are other countries. You have Costa Rica. Now, Costa Rica is surrounded by a very bellicose country. There were wars taking place all around Central America until 1985. And it was the Costa Rican president, Oscar Arias Sanchez, who negotiated a comprehensive peace pact between all the countries of Central America. And since then, there has not been a war there. But Costa Rica itself gave us the military, renounced the military in 1940. Costa Rica's neighbor, Panama, which has a huge asset, a very strategic asset, Panama, is also without army. Panama gave up army law. So there are 22 countries, and there are very small countries like Qatar wants an army and huge defense base. And you have Bahrain as a defense base. Singapore is a small country, but it has a big base. So it's not a question of being small or big. I mean, you have small countries like Singapore and Qatar, which believe in having military, and you have small countries like Costa Rica, Panama, and many others, which do not have military. So again, war is a choice. Yeah. And these countries, these 22 countries, have made a choice that they do not want military, they do not want to even think of the option of war. Now, go further. There are 122 countries who have subscribed to a resolution of the United Nations in 2017 that they do not want nuclear weapons. So, out of 193 countries which are members of the UN, 122, 123 countries have declared that they don't want at least nuclear weapons. They have conventional. So that's again a choice they have made. Uh, uh, so it's not a question of having a hedge because Switzerland didn't have a hedge before 100 years in terms of the banking system. It's really a question of the priority. But now, if the same Switzerland is thinking of buying, or not all of Switzerland, but at least some people there, then it's a choice there's nothing else. So it's always a matter of choice. If 22 countries decided to live without the army, I'm sure 50 countries decided. And if 50 countries decide, we will have one fourth of the world totally demilitarized. It is not impossible. In 1930s, not so long ago, a country like the United States, which is now in the forefront of bombing many other countries, was against using air force in a war. It was Germany that approached the United States and insisted on using air force for in a war. But once upon a time, not too long ago, the United States was against using air force. In the 1930s, US, France, Britain were thinking of putting limits on the naval power, and they had negotiated. So there have been times when countries have negotiated that there should not be a huge military or there should not be war. And the most interesting example, though it fell few years down the line, was the Kellogg-Briand Pact of 27 August 1928. On that day in Paris, all the big powers of the Western world, including Germany, including Russia, signed the pact to renounce war as an instrument of public policy and to resolve all conflicts in negotiation.
Yeah.
Now, this failed because there was a recession, and the German people elected Hitler, and Hitler didn't care for this fact and he walked out. But efforts have been made. One last effort I have to mention is the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 1722. So there is a resolution in the record of the UN General Assembly, which was passed in December 1921, which renounces war. The renunciation of the war is not in the Charter of the United Nations, but it is there in the General Assembly Resolution of 1720. So General Assembly resolutions are not mandatory, unlike Security Council Act. They are mandatory. But there is a resolution which is a blueprint for a free world, a world without war, and which people can decide to use anytime.